And I'm sure you've heard by now, but in Korea, there is a birth rate deficiency. If the toddlers are decreasing, then of course the population is decreasing as well. The situation kind of reminds me of the movie Children of Men, where humans lost the ability to procreate. As I return to Seoul from Almaty, Kazakhstan, I've noticed something that I really never paid attention to before I left. I mentioned in a couple of videos how in Almaty, when I'm walking around just anywhere, I can see so many young couples with children. But since I've come back to Seoul, I've noticed that there are just so many elderly people and couples in the city, but there aren't very many young children. By young children, I mean couples walking with young children. So I just want to ask this question to those of you who may be watching. Is Korea fading away? Yeah, really, since I returned from Almaty and I've just been walking around Seoul, making videos, exploring the city again, I just came to find out that, wow, there's a really big dearth of people here. There's a lack of certain kind of people here, and that's like young people, like children, toddlers, I should say. I mean, in Almaty, when I'm walking around, I can see a lot of parents, young parents, with their children and their toddlers. And here in Seoul, it's like they're, I don't know where they are. I guess you can say like the toddlers are in school or the parents are also at work. But I don't know. I don't think that's the case because I see a lot of like young people out during the day, even during the work hours. I just don't see couples with young children. Come to this area. This is one of my favorite areas in Seoul. This is Dongdaemun Culture and History Park. This is like International Food Street or something. They've got like Uzbek food here, Russian food, Mongolian food. I think there might be Kazakh food here. But this area is where I see a lot of young couples with children. But it's like as soon as you get out of this area, you don't see children. I mean, it's just, it feels weird. Like when I'm in Kazakhstan, when I was in Almaty, I could hear a lot of children playing, like a lot of children laughter, and it just does something to your heart. It does something to your body, to your ears, to your spirit. But when you come to Seoul, I'm not saying that Seoul is a bad city or anything like that. It's just you don't hear the same kind of laughter. You don't hear the same kind of enthusiasm or vibrance for life or vigor for life that young people, like toddlers, bring. When I was in Almaty for 3 weeks and I lived in the apartments, like right in the center of the city, I could hear children downstairs playing at all times of the day, all times of the night. It's like 11 o'clock at night, they're playing. 8 o'clock in the morning, they're outside playing. It's like everywhere you go, you're hearing children playing or running around or laughing. This is like not just in the suburb area or the outskirts of the center of the city, but this is in the actual center of the city. And even when you didn't hear children playing, you would see a lot of young couples walking with their children, or you would see young women who are pregnant. And it's just, I don't know, when I see that, it just makes me feel like there's some kind of hope, for the future. It's actually really interesting because near the school where I work, there's a really good daycare center, and at the daycare center, they have a lot of toddlers who are going there. And I remember a few years ago, there were a lot of toddlers going to this daycare. They were outside, they were playing with their teachers, and yeah, it was just, you could hear them like laughing and screaming and doing what toddlers do. But this year, the classes were like much smaller than they were in the past. There's like maybe, in the past, I could see like 30 students or 30 toddlers in one class or being led by one teacher, something like that. But now I can only see like 10 at the most. And don't get me wrong, I understand that the culture in Almaty and the culture here in Korea or in Seoul are very different from one another. But it's just that, like, even when I come back and I see like the people, it's like the people are much older here. There's much more of them walking around. I can really see the absence of toddlers or a lot of young people just on the streets, even in the summertime. So I'm in a residential neighborhood now. I'm actually in my neighborhood, and I just walked by a cafe, And in the cafe, there were, I think, 7 people. And there was one couple with a child, and the child was a toddler. But the couple, they weren't young. They weren't like in their 20s. They were like in their 30s. And the toddler was like 2 or 3 years old. I want to say that's a marked difference between traveling around Central Asia as opposed to being here in East Asia, in Korea, or even when I traveled to Japan. I didn't see a lot of toddlers, and I didn't see a lot of young couples with children in these countries. And I'm sure you've heard by now, but in Korea, there is a birth rate deficiency. So actually there are more people dying in Korea than there are being born. So this could be one of the reasons why I don't see many toddlers in the daytime, or many toddlers just walking around the street with young parents, because young parents just aren't having children. It's super funny because, like, living in Korea, I hear often about the birth rate is declining and how Koreans aren't having children. And even though I hear about it, I've never really paid much attention to it because I'm like here in the country. And you know how it is, like when you're in the country, you never really fully pay attention to things until, you know, you're on the outside looking in. But really, since I've gotten back from Kazakhstan, I'm like, where are the Koreans? Where are they? Like, are they vanishing? Like, what's happening to Koreans? And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I guess I've known that this was happening. I've known that Korea was vanishing since, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Korea is vanishing like right now. Like, the country or the people are going to like disappear immediately. It's taking some time, but a really good indicator that the country or the people or the culture is disappearing is that there aren't as many toddlers, or I don't see as many toddlers. And I guess you could say, Francois, you know, you're not looking everywhere in Korea. You're not going everywhere in Seoul to see if there are toddlers around. But I mean, just being out in the city as much as I am, just being out in the daytime, being out at night, being out in the morning, seeing the amount of elderly people that are out, not seeing, even now, I'm in the park and it's a little hot, but still I'm in the park and there are no children here. I don't see any toddlers out here playing. You know, maybe they're in the air conditioner, but I mean, it's like, where are the Koreans? And if the young people aren't here, if the toddlers are decreasing, then of course the population is decreasing as well, in my opinion. Over here, there are just old people sitting down under the shed, talking, having a drink. There are some, I guess, older guys in their 20s and 30s in this like soccer area playing football. And oh, now we can see a mom walking up with her kid on the bike, but she's not really young. She's not like in her early 20s. And even if you look over here, like there's a group of people that are sitting and chilling. They're like elderly people, and they're out here, but the young people aren't. I apologize if this video seems like it's all over the place, like it's going from here to there to there, but I didn't script this video. It's just something that I noticed and I wanted to talk about, like, as soon as I arrived and as soon as I like really paid attention, like especially when I made the video yesterday about the comparison between Seoul and Almaty. But remember when I was saying earlier how I knew for maybe 2 or 3 years, or since 2 or 3 years, that the population was declining, or there weren't as many young people as there were before? Well, I work at a university, and there is one really big telltale sign that I did not pay attention to because I was too like focused on just me living my own life. Open park area. Like, I know it's a little hot, but look, it's empty. Most of the people here are elderly or people like in their 30s or 40s. And I'm thinking, like, if I were in Almaty, even if it were hot, or even in Uzbekistan, many places in Uzbekistan, like this place would be full of children. Like, children would be out playing and, you know, just, you know, doing whatever children do. There will also be like younger people sitting on their phones on the benches and stuff. But here it's like, look at this is no one. It's not even super hot outside today. So, I mean, can't even offer heat as an excuse. Yeah, but I was saying, I knew this was happening because I could see it at school. But now that I'm back, I can really see it. And that's the number of freshman students who are enrolling in our school has like dropped. like precipitously. And I don't know if it's because going to school is very expensive. I don't know. I don't think so, because I mean, the tuition at school hasn't really changed, and the economy is not like the best here, but it's not doing like super bad that, you know, students would just stop going because of money. I think it's because Korea is really running out of young people. So it was after the lockdown when, or it was after or before, I can't even really remember, but the Korean government began to consolidate a lot of the universities around the country. Maybe the lockdown was a convenient excuse, but I just remember during this time, a lot of professors at my school were worried like about the state of our school, because our school isn't like super big. For what it teaches, it's a pretty big school, but like in general, compared to other universities, it's not so big. One of the main reasons why a lot of these schools are closing, one colleague was telling me, is because the number of students had dropped. The schools were so big, like the campuses were big, but there weren't enough students on campus to justify the schools being around or existing. So the Korean government began to combine schools or to outright close schools down altogether. When I arrived in Korea almost 14 years ago, this wasn't the case. Like, even in the countryside, you could see so many children out playing, you know, with their families. There were some young couples, not super young, but they were young couples. And, you know, all of the students were like doing all that they could to study so they can get into the college that they wanted. I used to, you know, teach extra classes so I can help students prepare for their English tests or, you know, other academic qualifications that they needed in order to get in college, even in middle school. And some were in elementary school. Now we've got 2 toddlers at this playground. There are 2 toddlers. Oh, there are 2 more toddlers over here. And we've got some older people, elderly people over there sitting down on the bench. We've got maybe like a mom or grandma over there. And yeah, here's some elderly people over here as well. So what is that, like 6, 7 elderly people with 4 toddlers? It's crazy for a playground of this size. Me, I love Korea. I've been here for such a long time because I love this country and I want this country to do well because I'm here. And when the country does well, I do well. Same for the United States. As much, you know, grief, to say as much criticism as I give the United States, I still want it to do well, because if the United States has a good image, you know, me as an American abroad, I also have a good image. It's so sad. It's very sad to see Korea like changing from what I knew it to be, this very vibrant, vivacious, if I can use that, country that, you know, had a lot of steam behind it. It was moving forward. It was, you know, very innovative. And I mean, I'm not saying that it's not innovative anymore, but it was, you know, it had a lot of potential. All this is starting to change because I don't see as many young people as I saw before. Another telltale sign that, you know, the young people are starting to disappear, which is like directly related to Korea disappearing, is the amount of foreign students that my school is now taking to compensate for the lack of Korean students that it's losing every year. And here is another playground right there. No children. Granted, it is like right in the middle of the sun, but still, there's just one elderly guy here. No children anywhere to be found. And this park is not in an area where there aren't children. There are tons of children here because I see them all around my apartment area. They're just running around doing stuff, but not as much as they were before. The situation kind of reminds me of the movie Children of Men, where humans lost the ability to procreate. I think the oldest person in the world was like 18 or something, and he died, and you know, people were like really crying and tearing their eyes out because they called him Baby Diago, I think. He was 18 years old. And, you know, I kind of feel like the same thing is happening here in Korea. Maybe we have access to too many technologies or too many things to make us relax, too many leisure activities. We have too many hobbies. We can play games anytime you want. We can go to the singing room. I like the singing room, but we can go there anytime we want. There's a lot of alcohol drinking here. There's a lot of partying here. Actually, I think the party scene has become a lot larger in the last like few years than it ever has been. So people can go out, they can party, they can enjoy a lot of activities on their own these days. Like technology has made it really easy for you to be alone and to be happy. So I guess it's dissuading a lot of young people from having children. Not only that, I read in a lot of my comments on some videos that the price of housing is just too high. The Korean government is not doing a good job of making housing affordable. So a lot of people are deciding that, okay, if we buy a house and then we also add children to the equation, you know, we're not gonna have any money left over to like just live, to function. So I'm thinking like the price of housing here is also dissuading young people from getting married and having children. The last time that I used a dating application here in Korea was earlier this year. I would like scroll past all of these girls, and the great majority of them are like, have no kids, don't want kids, have no kids, don't want kids, have no kids, don't want kids, have no kids, don't want kids. And it's like, sheesh, like I'm not like sexist or anything, but it's like in the back of my mind, I always think like the purpose of like, you know, getting married or like becoming a couple is so that you can, you know, have children and continue your bloodline or leave your immortality project for your descendants to continue. I'm guessing like there's a multiplicity of factors that contribute to me not seeing so many toddlers and young people just out having fun, like at the park or just running around with young couples. You know, it's kind of strange. Like I didn't realize this before, but I'm sitting here in the park and it's super empty. Like there are no children's laughter to be had anywhere. When I was in Almaty, like seriously, even all the way up on the 15th floor, I could hear the children laughing downstairs because they're like screaming, "Wah!" And then when I went downstairs, of course, you would see all kinds of children like in the park in front of the apartment complex. And even when I'm down in the center of town walking, you would see children like running through fountains and things like that. And there's a fountain area over here, but there are no children to be found. Seriously, there are no children anywhere besides the places that I showed you before. And it just makes me sad because there's something about a child's laughter that really, like, it seriously brightens my heart. I don't have any children myself, but I hope to have some, you know, one day. And I'm anticipating, like, even though I know fatherhood and parenthood is tough, but just being around your children, hearing them like make noises, like as a child, it does something to your psyche. Because I have 3 younger sisters, and I remember I helped raise them. And I remember them crying, but I also remember them laughing. I remember them having fun, and it just brought joy. And even now, remembering that is bringing like a big smile to my face. More look at the denizens of this park. They're all people over 50. So that's it for me. I didn't make this video very exhaustive. I didn't put any kind of research into it because, to be honest, I don't know why I don't see so many toddlers. There could be any number of reasons. There could be any number of reasons why the birth rate in Korea is falling. But guys, let me know what you think. Why do you think you can't see so many, or I can't see so many toddlers here in Korea? Or if you're living in Korea, why do you think like you don't see a lot of toddlers or young couples walking around, young women pregnant, things like that? I would really love to know. So thanks a lot for watching. I love you all. Make sure you stay hydrated, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing your opinions about this topic that is so close to me in the comment section. So take care. Love you. See you next time. Peace.